Yeah, come do an opening for us, please. Like a door opening.
Yeah, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He blesses this gathering and all gatherings like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a hadith that says, "وما اجتمع القوم في بيت من بيوت الله أو like except that and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remembers basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala houses in front of those who are in front of him, which is the angels. I'll accept not because of that. Not because it's smart, but
No, just
big dua. May Allah make that short dua. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. Allow us to benefit from each other, and allow us to benefit from your teachings, from the teachings of the Quran, the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and allow us to benefit from what Abdul Latif is going to discuss today. Yeah, inshallah. And whatever shortcomings for all of that.
real quick, just brief reminders, right? So, we have the privilege of having our brothers and our sisters that took Shahada, that declared that there's no deity worthy of worship but Allah, and that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the last messenger of Allah. I, I've been going over the Fatiha, right? I've been going over the Fatiha. So I kind of wanted to go step by step with what I'm relearning and try to implement that and practice that in my day to day. But then you have day to day conversations, right? That kind of change the process of what you're thinking about, and what's going on, right? And what you have planned. So I had the privilege of talking to one of our brothers, mashallah, today. And, well, two actually. One brother, he was in a bad motorcycle accident a while ago. He left Juma here, went out, was in a motorcycle accident, was a very bad accident, and he lost his memory, right? He lost some of his memory. And losing his memory, he finds it difficult to practice Islam the way he used to. So he thinks, right? This is, and I spoke to another brother that has some struggles with intoxicants, right? Muslim brother, I won't, we don't mention names, but we can talk about situations. He has some struggles with intoxicants, and those intoxicants have him, or it allows the shaitan to infiltrate and tell him that he should stay away from the masjid because your prayer is not accepted for the 40 days, and these things and that thing, those things, right? So he stays away from the house of Allah. He stays away from the believers. And Allah was very clear when he said, it was mentioned, uh, when a believer or a Muslim stay away from the remembrance of Allah, a shaitan is appointed to him as a companion that's going to whisper. These things going to know you. They're going to be familiar. They're going to get familiar with your mannerisms, the things that entice you, that pull you further and further away from the call of Allah. So what do we do? I'm not a scholar. I don't have knowledge like Abdullah and Sheikh. He don't want me to say that way. Like these and our imam and people like this. However, to piggyback from the conversation that we had last week about our brothers, our community, our members, the people we pray with, are the people that can be, that'll go to Allah and say, I haven't seen Abdullah in Jannah. Ya Allah, where is Abdullah? And Allah will tell that person, they'll tell so-and-so, go to Jahannam. If you find him, bring him to Jannah with you. Bring him back with you. So we are all we got. Was the conversation last week. So last week, if this is all we have, then it's our responsibility to look out for the ones, especially the ones that's struggling, right? These brothers travel all over the world, all over the US, reminding people that Allah is open and waiting for them to return back to him. His hands, not like our hands, but his hands are extended, his arms are extended, his hand is open, and he's waiting for us to return back to him. Right? So with our brothers that's struggling, our sisters that's struggling with intoxicants, I'm reminded there's another brother that told me, he said, yeah, it was written that your prayers your prayers won't be accepted for these days, but don't stop praying, because the prayer can change things. Your dua in your prayer can change things. Also, in that reminder was the duas of the believer can change the color of Allah. So if you were doomed or felt like you were doomed in one situation, and you come to Allah with a sincere heart, looking for repentance, looking for his forgiveness, and seeking his aid to come up out of whatever vice that got you locked away, he will open the door. And when I say open the door, I mean call him by his names. His name. What's his name? The attribute, the opener. Fatah. Yeah. So his name is the opener. He will open up a way where you see no way. So when I call to my brother and I'm talking to him, talking to these brothers over the phone, and I'm hearing their struggle, and they're saying, brother, oh man, I'm not as strong as you. And I had to remind them, brother, you don't know my vices. You don't know my shortcomings. You don't know my shortcomings. Neither do I know your shortcomings until you mention them. I don't chase after your shortcomings. I don't look for what defects you have. I want to compliment the positive side of you. I don't want to look for your defects. If you tell me your defects, I'm going to tell you, come to the house of Allah. And for the one that lost his memory, I asked him. He was like, "Man, it's hard to, like get it together. Like I'm just trying to get it together, and I have no idea what he's going through. I have no idea what it's like to have full faculty of your mind, and then one day everything is gapped out. Every day you wake up, you have to be reminded who this woman is that you live with. This is my wife. This is my daughter. Oh, I can't wear this no more. I can't do this no more. Why can't I do that no more? And I have no idea what that feels like. So I asked him, I said, brother, with all the things that you forgot, do you remember Allah? He said, of course. Yeah. I said, you remember your Fatiha? He said, yeah. I said, say it. He said it. I said, brother, you got something that some people in the world that with all their memory don't have. Allah causes you. Everyone knows that Allah decrees and does what He pleases with His creation. He allowed you to lose your memory of some things, but He allowed you. This is the thing that we look at all the things that we lost, but we don't look at the things that Allah allowed us to keep. He allowed him to keep the memory of Allah. What it said, La ilaha illallah, is heavier on the scale on the day of judgment than put anything behind that. You put anything behind that. So he can remember that. So in these conversations, I said, tonight, man, maybe we could talk about that. Maybe we could talk about, like, how do we call our brothers back to Islam? Or not even back to Islam. Call them to be amongst the brothers when they're feeling strained and difficulties from memory loss or substance abuse or whatever. How do we call them back? So my question is a rhetorical question, but it's also a question that I have to ask myself. Like, how do I be a brother to someone that's hurting themselves? And not to get too deep into our conversation, but one was like, I know that I'm allowing the shaitan to be victorious over me because I don't come to the masjid, because I don't come to Juma, because I missed some prayers. He didn't say he missed all his prayers. He said I missed some prayers. I'm not saying no name. We won't say no name, but these are the struggles of some of our brothers and sisters. How do we reach those brothers and sisters? One, you have to. So I told at the end of the conversation, well, during the conversation, it came up. It says the people, the Muslims that's struggling with addiction, whether it's alcoholism, uh, whatever it may be, they usually, even though they're Muslim, they usually hang amongst themselves. They congregate together because they want to keep some form of I'm telling you, is as twisted as it may sound, they want to keep some form of their Muslim or Islamic identity. So they hang with each other, doing wrong, not realizing that they're gonna all be witnesses against each other on the day of judgment. In their wrongdoing. And then you have the brothers that's in the masjid regularly. Forget about these brothers. They're gonna be called like, yo, you don't remember praying with so and so? Why you just? If you saw him, you gave salam alaikum rahmatullah. Brother, I miss you. But to someone that's in struggle, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, solid. Brother, I miss you. Weak. Because there's no follow-up. There's no follow-up behind I miss you. There's no, brother, did you change your number? Brother, let me come pick you up. Brother, what you doing tomorrow? I want to bring you to Brooklyn. Let's go to the steakhouse and have some halal steak. There's none of that. There's just, brother, I miss you. Come back to the masjid. Okay, I come back to the masjid, but all the Muslims that I hang with on the regular are over here. So there's fault on both sides. And I'm talking to myself. There's fault on both sides. So my thing is, all right, I can't do everything. I'm only one person. I got my own struggles and my own vices. Got my own call to Allah for forgiveness. Right? But I pick up the phone and call the forgotten ones every now and then. And I remind them, like, yo, what someone reminded me, even if you often going, when you have time, meaning when you have a clear mind, a sober mind, come pray. Come pray. Don't worry if Allah is going to accept it or not, because even the ones, because you got to give them hope now. Because even the ones that come to the masjid 5 times a day, offer extra rakas, the sunnah, before, after. When the adhan is called, they greet the masjid. They do all the beautiful things. We don't even know if their prayers are going to be accepted. They don't know if their prayer is going to be accepted. So don't think that the person that's praying in the masjid 5 times a day is better than you. We all come to prayer with the hope of Allah accepting it. No one knows if he will or if he won't. So don't stop praying. I reminded him, I said, listen, short story, not getting too detailed because I don't want to be, but the story of the prostitute. She never said La ilaha illallah. Not openly. She fed an animal that was dying, literally dying of thirst, but she did it with a sincere heart of not only saving the animal, but saving the creation of Allah. When Allah gave her Jannah because. So if your heart is sincere, because some people can be struggling and sincerely asking Allah to relieve them of this struggle, and it may never happen. We don't know. I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't. But sincerely, they really beg to Allah in the middle of the night, please, I don't want to do this anymore. And they sincerely believe that Allah can change their condition. But yet, you got a man or woman that comes to five prayers and pray all those 5. And in the Quran, and I'm not quoting, I say it loosely because I don't want to get in trouble. But Allah mentioned that there will be people that will come to prayer and they will remember him very little. So just because we stand in prayer 5 times a day don't mean that the memory of Allah is in every prayer or even in the prayer at all. So the one that may miss the prayer, but when he comes to the prayer, he comes with a sincere and pure heart, asking Allah for his forgiveness and seeking his pleasure. That one prayer may outweigh the 5 prayers that you did all day. And I'm not saying it will. That's not an excuse or a reason not to try to do better. But we got to remember that all of our hope and all of our forgiveness and all of our guidance and all of the mercy relies on Allah. So somewhere in this conversation, and I'll wrap it up, but somewhere in this conversation, we talked about, and we mentioned this in our conversation about the baby, but this time we was talking about like the birds and the ants. Because one guy was like, yo, like Allah created the ants for what reason? And not questioning Allah, but just like pondering this, like, and he created the birds and like, so in the conversation, maybe I said it, maybe he said it, maybe somebody said it, who knows, right? But it was said in the conversation that The bird, when you really think about it, the bird has no money. It has no money. When the sun rises, the bird waits, or and do what birds do. If you ever watch the bird, the first thing they do, they go sit in their spot, either on the wire, the tree. You live in the city, so there's the wire, the tree. You could throw bread, you could throw whatever. They don't move. They sit on the wire until a certain time. I don't know what time that is. I'm just saying. I watch. I see. I threw bread before. Try it. Trust me. You could throw it. You could throw their favorite food, bird seed, whatever you want. They won't move from the wire. They'll see it. They won't move from the wire. And then at a specific time, they fly. They make noises. And they calling. They doing roll call. Maybe they're offering salah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Right? And then they go. But they have no money. They have no idea where they're going to eat, what they're going to eat. But they totally and completely dependent upon Allah. A bird, you have never seen a bird plant a seed to grow a tree so they can eat tomorrow. They don't even, and I'm not saying I don't know what their brains do, but they don't think about, like, I'm going to put this for tomorrow and watch the tree grow, and then we're going to wait a couple years, and once it grows big enough, we're going to eat it, and then we're going to give it some time, let it grow back. They wake up and they completely dependent upon Allah. The complete dependence upon Allah is the true definition of a Muslim. Complete dependence upon Allah. Sometimes we say, and I'm talking about myself, sometimes I say I'm completely dependent upon Allah, but I try to find my own way. That don't mean I don't have to go out and work and figure things out and do things. But, you know, we say it easy. It rolls off the tongue. Ya Allah, whatever you decree. But then the decree comes, you're like, oh, shoot, I ain't want it like that. Can I get that back and get two more over there, Alex? Like from 500, I got 500. Can I get that one instead of this one? Because this one right here is crazy. So you want to give it back to Allah. But you just told Allah, you just told yourself, I'm okay with whatever you give me. He only gave you $2. He only gave you enough food for today. He don't want you to put nothing away for tomorrow. Rely on me. I got you tomorrow. Just like I took care of you today. Figuratively speaking. But when we think about the bird, we think about that baby we talked about a long time ago. When the baby is born, it's completely reliant upon Allah. We as human beings say, oh, it needs the mom. Well, the mother needs Allah. Because the milk that comes to her breast comes from Allah. No man knows how to produce that milk, the exact ingredient, the exact nutrition, the hormones, the everything that comes through the mom to the baby, the exact dose for the baby. Allah gives the mom. She doesn't create this on her own. Complete dependence on Allah. So I say that to say this, and we'll come back. When we find our brothers or sisters struggling with whatever thing that they're struggling with, when we think that we're at our bottom, do we ask ourselves, are we still allowed to remember Allah? Do we know his name, his names, his attributes? Do we know him? Do we trust him? Do we remember our Al-Fatiha? And I probably pronounced that wrong because I'm American. But do we remember these things, right? Because if we remember those things, we have more than any dollar we can put in a bank account. Those small things. La ilaha illallah weighs more than $1 million in your bank account. So for my brother that that feel lost because he can't remember everything he used to. But because you remember La ilaha illallah, because you remember Allah's name, because you can still recite the Al-Fatiha, you're doing okay. For my brothers that's struggling with substance abuse, because you remember Allah, because you think about your wrongdoings, and you sincerely, and if you sincerely ask Allah for forgiveness and to become the opener for you, he'll open the way and where you don't see no way, and he'll bring you back. He'll bring you back to him. Because every struggle and every difficulty that we go through is only to bring us closer to Allah. Nothing more, nothing less. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother, go ahead. Sheikh, you want to say something? Brother?
Can I say something? The surah, the second surah, and he said that if you have a problem in your home, the kids, the wife, etc., he said read that, defend together. And you read that. The other surah is the second surah, Al-Fariqat, and then the other surah is Sabr, a creed of Shiva. If you read those three verses, then your troubles are your, memory will go away.
Inshallah.
Al-Fariqat is the second surah. I read it every night, and it's a marvelous surah. Down troubles at 9:40.
So the brother, he closed out already. Alhamdulillah. Why yakum? Inshallah.